Back in the 50s, we'd never had it so good, although some of us had never had it at all. Great Britain was going to get greater. Everyone was going to have cars and money. So they took a load of Geordies, Scots and Cockneys out of the rundown mines and the shipyards and dumped them in the middle of green and pleasant England. They built a new town and called it Telford. Their kids were going to grow up happy, healthy and well paid, making car door seals for British Leyland. 20 years later.
So now we've got to the point where you've now got this railway running. Okay, so how did you manage to get, because you had a small line, didn't you? Was the line already in place, or if you had to, because you Horsey was a location, obviously.
It was, yes. So the line was retained for exceptional loads from the Abbas and the Butley AB cranes. So Telford Development again tried to buy the whole line with the track on. Unfortunately, they lost the track. All over the price of scrap rising between them negotiating and going to pay the bill. BR at the time were very dogmatic, and it was like, okay, right, the following week they took the track up. Subsequently, TDC managed to buy the track bed, and we managed to retain some of the track in the yard on the line. We've now opened from the yard at Horsey being our base. We've then got the line now through up to Lawley. Lawley was a complete new development there, because after the line shut, the whole site was open cast mined, as a lot of the area was.
Changed a lot there, didn't they?
They did, yeah. When they reinstated the ground, what it looked like was they'd filled the cutting in. So in reality, it all disappeared into a 200-foot hole.
Because obviously it's quite a deep cutting initially, wasn't it?
It was,
when
yes.
you look at the ground strut,
yeah. So for us to build a terminus station at that end, we've had to move 40,000 cubic metres of spoil, which we've done. We did it as a combination with volunteers and a local contractor. To do the sort of final grading and the fancy work, if you like. We did moving of excess spoil. We've developed the site, and we're now kind of established an operation centre. We've added an events, and that's now given us a positive cash flow to take us to our next step.
So looking at the line itself, so obviously you were here long before the new Lawley development was there. Was there ever any plans to just go straight across the common? And
yeah, we had to get involved with the developers because none of that land at Lawley was ours.
Yeah.
So you kind of one hand tied behind your back at this point because you are going out with the kind of the begging bowl. So we talked about various different things. The balancing lake that had been put on in very early on at the bottom of Lawley there had already kind of covered the track bed. The M54 cut through the track bed as well, so it was quite fragmented there. When the inquiry by design for the new Lawley developments started, we were at that right from the start. And we talked about could we get the station actually in what is now the centre.
Which would be
unfortunately the levels and things just couldn't work for both us and the developer, and there was kind of fixed levels that we weren't going to be able to change. So the compromise was that we stopped where we do. It kind of looks odd at the moment until the rest of the development is finished, because what should be happening is that we actually make a T-junction with the new access road.
The other houses aren't too far away from it there, so it should look a bit more, like you say, a bit more kept with
that's
it. That's
right. At the moment it looks like we just stop in the middle of a field, but as the development continues, it will close in around us, and that will be our main entrance.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So you've got the other line now that runs from here down to Doseley, and obviously it's pretty much a track bed all the way around, isn't there?
Yeah.
Apart from you get to the Queensway, is it?
Yeah, the 4169 cut through the original alignment at Lightmoor.
Yeah.
So we lease the track bed from Telford and Wrekin, who've been very, very positive. That's on a 99-year lease from them, so that's secured. The track runs from Horsey to just short of Doseley, and that was put in to enable us to do the work at Lawley. We now need to upgrade that. Okay, and the probable route of that is we're probably going to lift what is actually there. And then going with complete brand new.
Because obviously you've got to, when you run a passenger service, you've got to obviously you've got the health and safety and all of that.
We have to meet regulations, and the track that is there was great for moving the excess spoil we had at Lawley, but is not so good for a passenger service. So it's actually going to be easier to completely renew it than just trying to piecemeal upgrade it. So that's what we're going to do. Our plans are well in place for that there, and that will be happening very, very shortly.
If you just say you do link it up to the main Buildsworth line, how do you get about? Would you have to build a bridge?
Yes. So we require a bridge over the Iron Bridge bypass. We have the bridge. It's sat in the yard here at Horsey. Network Rail sold us the bridge for £1.
That is incredible.
It cost us £5,000 to move it, but it cost us £1 to buy it.
People wouldn't really know that. You've got a bridge ready to do that.
Yeah, we have a bridge ready to do that. We've spoken with local civil engineering contractors, so we know exactly how much the bridge will cost us to put in. But we haven't pushed ahead with that. Mainly due to the fact of the uncertainty of what was happening with the power station and gaining access to the line. If we were going to look for grant funding for it, the first thing they would say, yeah, we like this idea, but have you got kind of what's happening with the power station line?
what's if you just say, for instance, I mean, are you guys interested in taking on the power station line?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And we've been in active talks with Network Rail, the local authority, and various other stakeholders.
Would you have to build a new base for that, or could you run it still from here? And
if we can gain access to the line from here, i.e. put the bridge in, then we have a fully functioning operational base that we can run from here.
Because obviously a lot of people are very romantic about that line, and they obviously want to see steam running into the Severn Gorge. And I should imagine, I mean, you know, you've got Severn Valley, who've got quite a long stretch of line.
Yeah.
Whereas yours is, in the grand scale of things, quite a short section. Yeah. And obviously that would be amazing for the business.
Yeah, I mean,
we are talking everything's a business, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. From Lawley to Buildwas is about 5.5 miles. So you're on the train long enough to be on the train, but not too long for the kids to get bored. But there's also then a destination. So you come off the M54, you get on the train at Lawley as a park and ride, you ride down in there, you come literally right over the top of the birthplace of industry with the furnace at Coalbrookdale. And then you can come down to the side of the river, a station located there. You then have an absolutely wonderful walk. You can look to interconnect with vintage buses down to those who can't walk down into there. But it's lovely through Dale End Park. Lots of people end up parking at Dale End anyway, so it's not going to be a huge difference to there. But what a spectacular way to enter the gorge. It is,
and you know, and a local trust to be able to run the line as well.
Yeah, and because we've now we've got the coaches, we've got the locomotives that are capable of doing it. We've just been waiting for the.
I was going to ask you about stock. So your stock that you've got here. So what actual stock have you got? Because I've you've got diesel, steam.
So at the moment, predominantly we run smaller runs, and that's purely a cost sort of implication. The way I can describe it to the layman is you've got the parcel to deliver. Now the most efficient way of delivering that parcel would be a small escort van. Okay. Yes, you could put it in a 40-foot Arctic lorry, but your costs have gone up, and that's kind of where we're at the moment.
So we're using your means.
We're using smaller equipment, smaller locos, because it's more cost effective. But I can assure people that it is very, very much actively being worked on.
And you guys are on it?
And we're on it.
Right, well you heard that from here. Watch this space. Now everybody hasn't got to worry now, because we're all worried that the line's going to be taken up, it's going to end up a long distance footpath.
Yeah, I mean there's lots of different things, but everybody, as I say, that has to be involved in that process is talking to each other.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate that. It's been I've really enjoyed speaking.
Watch this space.
We're here today in the Telford Town Park. This is the Telford T50 50-mile walk, trail that has been put together. It starts off with the stage 1, which is the Town Park to Ironbridge, which is 10 miles. It's then the stage 2, which is the Ironbridge to Little Wenlock, which is 4 miles. Then you've got the stage 3, which is Little Wenlock to Wellington, which is 8 miles. Then you have stage 4, which is Wellington to Horsey, which is 9 miles. Then you have the stage 5, which is Horsey to Oakengates, which is 5 miles. And then stage 6, which is Oakengates to Lillishore, which is 6 miles. And then it finishes off with stage 7, which is the Lillishore to Town Park, which is 8 miles.
One thing I love about Telford is the network of footpaths and cycleways and green spaces that crisscross the town. Now here is the Lillishore group here. They are going to do one of many of these trails that have been organised, which all collate to 50 miles in total. So this bunch of guys here, they're off to walk to Lillishore. Can you believe that? That's one long walk. Anyway, let's catch up with some of the guys here.
Morning, I'm Marie and I live here in Telford, and with my friends today we've been celebrating the Telford Park Run's 250th park run. We're also a big part of Run Mommy Run.
So can you tell me a little about Run Mommy Run?
Oh my God,
How do you
girls.
form it? What is it?
Run Mummy Run is the most amazing online network for women to share. All shapes, all sizes or abilities. You don't even have to be a mum, but it's a female thing. It's a girls only club. We all support each other with our running, and this morning was a real special one for Claire to help her to get round the 5k route.
Whoa! So you've said this morning already. You've ran this morning already.
Oh,
so
yeah.
what have you done then? How far you ran?
We've run 5k.
Oh, what, before breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's it. So, are you guys gonna do the entire Telford 50 route? Do you think you could?
In pieces.
Yeah.
In bits.
That's it.
Bring it
that's
on.
it.
Something
that's
to work
it.
towards.
And that's it. And I think, what do you think about our network of cyclopaths and in this beautiful town we live in? I bet you. So, where's your favourite run? Where do you like running to? If you want to run and you go, oh, that's the one I like doing the most.
Coalport,
There's
Ironbridge.
lots. Ironbridge is lovely. Town Park.
Appley.
Town Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
and that's
spoiled.
it.
We're really
We
spoiled.
are.
Well, I've got to say, you are sporting the most. What do they call them?
Teekaboo.
See, I know what they are, and they are amazing. Eye-catching.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we aren't going to miss you guys
These
when
are
you're
our
out.
subtle ones as well.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
are.
Yeah.
So what are your names?
Joanne,
Marie.
Claire.
Well, it's very nice meeting you, and
Thank you.
are you going to run home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's, so you got another 5 to do back.
Yeah, be a bit piece cake.
Ladies, thank you for talking to me. So this is Hem Lane from Shifnal coming through here. It's it's been blocked off now, but you can see now that the road actually comes across and it goes through the shrubbery there, which we'll have a look at, and then goes off straight the way down down towards Homer Lake. So this, as you can see, there's a natural clearing here where the old road used to come down, and I dare say if we dig down deep enough we could probably find it under here. So it's a lovely natural tree lined lane. So if you follow us in this direction, our next stop on this road would be Homer Farm via the railway bridge. Let's go and take a look. Well, me and Marcus are now going to try and find the railway bridge that takes the Hem Lane underneath the railway. Now it's changed a lot since I was last here. A lot of factories have been built. I think there's a builders merchants there now. This is the National Standard factory here, or what it used to be, and it's also been Powdies, but we know the bridge is somewhere along here, so we're going to go investigate and try and find it. Right, well, me and Marcus are on the railway now. That way is Ironbridge Power Station, but we're not going to go that way. That way is Stafford Park, but we are going to go that way. So we're looking for this bridge. We're looking for this bridge. Somebody told me it had been filled in, but I'm not taking that line down. So guys, we're now at the other end of Hem Lane. Now it's been very, very difficult to find where this bridge actually is because it's been filled in. Now with the help of Marcus's 3GS, Marcus's internet there, you can actually see where we actually are. So he's where the point is there, we know that that is almost parallel with the road that comes down from Hem Lane. So if you come across Marcus, keep going. There's and we zoom in a bit. So there's the Hem Lane there running across there. So what we've got here is the other half of the lane. So as I'm looking forward, the bridge was right in front of me there. As I'm looking behind, that was the road. You can see the natural hollow where you've got the big tree there, and then you've got all these saplings that have sort of grown over the road base itself. And you can see, so that would have taken you straight through to Homer Farm and Sturchley and beyond. But we're trying to look at some of the telltale signs of this. We've got a lot of big masonry, so we feel that it has been filled in fairly recently. However, what we do know is at the top of the bank there we have some bridge abutments. So again, you can see one of the older trees there. Look at that growing up there. So these would have been here. That's an oak. So that would have, all of these would have been here when this road ran through here. But you can see here where they've had to build the ground level up a little bit there, and it shows how low the road was to take it from under the bridge. So this is the bridge from Hem Lane. So you can see one of the abutments there, or the corner of it. There's some quite substantial masonry here for that, as you can see. So you can see now, this is the location of the bridge now. So I'm actually standing right in the centre of where the bridge is. So as I say, you've got an abutment there, you've got an abutment there, one there, and one over there, and that's obviously where the bridge would have sat. So excuse the wind, the road would have run straight the way out over towards Homer Lake from there. So looking ahead now, we can just see where Hem Lane comes down. Now if I look in this direction now, you can just see just where the barrier is. That's where it went straight the way down, through underneath the bridge, under the railway bridge, and then over to Homer Lake. It's mad to think that Dawley New Town was first designated in around about 1965, yet it took till 1986 to get its first railway station. That's quite bizarre really for a new town. You would have thought one of the first things that you would get sorted out would be a railway station, but people campaigned and campaigned and campaigned to get this railway station built here, and lo and behold, 1986, here it came, Telford Central Station. The irony is that the line actually ran through the middle of Telford in the first place, but it is actually quite a walk from here to the shopping centre, or the main town centre, but they built a lovely red footbridge which helped out. But even now, that footbridge is not fit for purpose, and they're building a brand new footbridge now to ease the link for disabled people. But over the years the station is completely expanded, the car park's got bigger, it's got a great public transport network as well, lots of taxis, lots of you know, buses running in and out. It really is a key transport hub for Telford.
Telford Central. It cost £2 million to build. It's on the London-Wolverhampton-Shrewsbury rail route, and it's alongside Junction 5 on the M54 motorway. Today, Telford-born Lord Murray did the honours.
In declaring this station open, and God bless all those who stay on proper.
The money for this showpiece station has come from BR, the European Regional Development Fund, and the Telford Development Corporation.
This is another part of our jigsaw put finally in place, and it will bring more and more private investment into the town.
It's obviously a good thing. Why has it taken so long?
Everything takes time in building new towns. You've got to put each piece of the jigsaw into place when you can get the money.
Telford Central will be served by intercity and local trains. It's built on former colliery sidings, and there's parking for 250 cars.
This station has everything for the disabled. It has induction loops for those that are hard of hearing. It also has ramps for the disabled. So it's been designed with the disabled in mind. And another clever thing about its design is that as Telford expands, so the station can expand. We've built it in anticipating that Telford's going to grow, and we want to grow with it.
We've now got intercity trains running right into the heart of our town centre. And this means that a lot of the private investment will be doubled and trebled because so much is now pouring into Telford in this new period of confidence. And across the bridges here, you can walk as a pedestrian into scores of shops in our covered shopping mall, to an international tennis centre, to an ice rink, to civic offices, to a town park of 400 acres, to new high technology units that are being built, to a 100-bedroom luxury hotel, and to offices which will soon be employing 3,000 people in office jobs as well.
At last, Telford can boast its own station. An advantage indeed, but one that was surely needed well over 2 decades ago when the town was struggling to make its mark.
Is one of the most complicated parts of building the Eastern Primary route, and this is the section at Greyhound, which is outside Oaken Gates. It took 7.5 million to build this section of road, and it was so problematic due to the strata of the ground. It was opened on the 13th of November 1981 and built by R.M. Douglas. Now the problem with the site was this was former mining tip spoil site. Also we had an existing railway running through the site as well, so it needed extensive reclamation work. Several thousand tonnes of coal were taken out of this cut-in here, and it also led to the building of the famous mosaic along this side of the Eastern Primary. But so much soil was dug out of here that it was relocated at the ramparts, which is the area at the Telford town centre by the old moat house. All of those areas piers were built up in 1981 with the soil from this site to make those large mounds, which later become Rampart Way.
These are, as you can see, giant rocks that were dug up by the Telford Development Corporation and just dumped here while they were building up the Silken Way, and this is where they've been left. Here we are in Rampart Way. On the right hand side is the A5 and on the left side is Telford Business Park. Have you ever gone up Rampart Way and thought to yourself, what are the big mounds on the left hand side as you go past? When they were building the Oakengate side of the Eastern Primary, all the mounds of earth that were dug up, they were brought over to here, and that is what these are here. And it was cleverly sculpted into the mounds that you see today. The mounds are being used today as flagpoles for Telford's 50th. So on the flagpoles you have the Telford 50 flag, you have the Telford and Wrekin Council flag, and also you have the Pride in the Community flag.
So where we're standing now is where the end of the motorway was. So for many years Telford campaigned for a motorway link to the M6, but before that this is where it came. There was two slip roads running up and down, and the only way you could get onto the motorway and off the motorway. That was the main junction for Telford Town Centre. We actually in theory had a motorway to nowhere. So it's an incredible to think that this was the end of the motorway at some point. So now we're looking for another lost road, and right beside me here is the motorway, the M54, and this bridge is the one that carries the A5 from Telford Centre. Now originally when this part of the M, it was called the Wellington Bypass, when they built it, this was where it came to, and two slip roads came up here either side, and that's the only way you could get off at the town centre. There was no road, there was no motorway heading towards over the other side of Stafford Park or to the M6. So what we're going to try and do now is try and find the original slip road that went up here, and the retaining wall that was built to the side of it for the traffic to come up. So let's go and take a look. So what we found here is the original motorway retaining wall. Now what we had here is, because this was the end of the motorway, all of this section here was all part of the slip road. So if you turn right the way around, you can see the slip road running up, going up there. So originally in the early days of Telford, you'd be driving up this to think this was actually a slip road up to the motorway. Well, you can see what they've actually done with the slip road is they've filled it in more, so this retaining wall here isn't actually that high. So what they've had, because where we're filming it would have been a lower ground, you'd have had motorway railings here which would have stopped you walking off down here. Well, you can tell how long that's been because of the size of these trees and how big they are, but you can see this huge masonry of this wall here, this retaining wall, which we'll investigate a little bit further. Here's a great example of Telford's road network. So what we've got here is Rampart Way. This is called the A5T, and just recently been made into a dual carriageway. This gives us the link to the motorway, the most important link, which is between the Eastern Primary and the motorway. Over here we have the railway station, which is important for commuters to get to Telford, also to make that transition to the Telford Centre as well. As we move along, we've got the Eastern Primary. the A442, the Queensway, the backbone of Telford. Now this carries a lot of traffic, dual carriageway. That way we head to Trenchlock. Over there we're off to Madeley. So over in the background there we have another key part of the Telford road network. It's the M54, which again slices the town in two. Very important road, and it just goes to show, in this little area here, this is the transport hub of Telford. The roads, the rail. So just in front of me here is Trenchlock Interchange, and we are right at the end of the Eastern Primary. It runs all the way from Madeley to this point. The plan was to take it further on as a dual carriageway, but it was never ever happened. But they built the road wide enough to take it, and in some places there are plans to extend the road up at Apley into a dual carriageway. We've talked a lot about missing roads, so let's look at missing footpaths. Now this is a great example here. Behind me is a little grassy track. Now we're actually in the middle of the rock at the moment, so I think we've got Woodrush Heath over on the other side, and there's some more houses, and just in between the two houses this greenway path, but the path actually just leads off round there. It doesn't take you in this direction. Now many of you have probably travelled down the road from Dawley to Donington. I think it's the B4367, I think it is, don't quote me on that. And you've probably seen the bridges past there, especially as you go through Old Park, but you've never probably noticed the missing bridge. The bridge, well, it isn't missing, it's there, but it's just a disused footbridge. Let's go and take a look at it. So just around the corner, as the path curves around, just up on the top of the bank there is our bridge, which is the abandoned bridge. Now what I love about this 1980s planting here, just look at these beautiful trees here, look at them, look at how beautiful they are. They're almost like Christmas trees, they almost look like them. Beautiful, pine cones on them and everything. And all here, this is what, I'm sure this was meant to be a really nice footpath, and I'm pretty sure this was maybe meant to have been a footpath from the Rock to Telford Centre via Old Park. But you know, let's carry on. So here we are. This is the missing bridge. It's actually the bridge to nowhere, but it's just known as the missing bridge. It doesn't go anywhere. But let's talk about where we are in the position. So, as I said, just down through there, you can get into the rock there. As we come over here, you can see that this is the Dawley to Donington Distributor Road. Over here, we have Old Park. Now there's a big swathe of land over in Old Park. It's never been built on because it was open cast mining, but you can just see there's a palisade fence there that you can't go any further with. And over this way we're over towards Dawley. So you can see that it's a very, very strange thing that the TDC would build a bridge that went nowhere, or is it just forward planning? But you can see the footpath itself is really, really overgrown with little saplings and stuff, but I absolutely love this bridge. It's just a little forgotten gem. part of the Eastern Primary was opened in 1981, and it was actually opened by the Queen, and for that reason it was called the Queensway. The whole network was renamed the Queensway. Some people in Telford still call it Queensway, but it'll always be known as the EP to us. This section of road, you can see it's one of the main arteries through Telford, and this is a very important section, and it was actually built by R.M. Douglas, and it's probably one of the most complicated phases of the project. Believe it or not, when they were building this road, they took many tons of coal out of the strata, and that went back in, but the soil, all this soil that was dug out from here, this great slope that's here, it was all relocated and put on the ramparts around the Telford centre. Well, behind me is the famous Queensway strata wall, or if you want to be a little bit picky, this is the A442 Queensway. Now, we're lucky today because the road's been closed off due to the bridge lift, so we'll be able to get a little bit up close and personal with this amazing retaining wall and find out a little bit more about it. Come on, let's go and take a closer look. This section of road has been the most complicated to build in most of Telford's network. Now, what this actually is a mosaic, a giant mosaic, and it's quite famous because, believe it or not, it was actually used in an advert for BMW during the 1980s. But what it actually represents is what happened here. Now, this is the deepest cutting, so as I say, this opened in 1981. It was started in around about 1980, and it was such a difficult site to excavate with a lot of falling rocks, etc. So this gigantic big retaining wall is exactly what was required to hold back all of that soil. So what about the strata? Well, that's what it's actually called, is a strata. So why all the different colours? Telford has been known for its strata. It's a very diverse strata. So each section indicates a certain type of rock that's found. Now you can see how each layer has been pushed up and it's fragmented, but that also gives an indication of what the ground's like. I mean, I should imagine during the Ice Age a lot of this ground was altered and shifted about, and that's what causes this kind of strata. So this is a typical strata of a slice through the ground of anywhere in Telford, really. Take a look at the length of this wall. It's actually built on a bit of a curve. This road here is the road down into Oakengate, but you can see it's a mighty structure and it's holding back an awful lot of soil.
The current bridge is about 30 years old, so it was built as Telford was being developed. Since then, obviously, Telford's undergone significant changes, and the current station caters for about 1 million passengers a year. So the bridge sees about 1,000 users per day at the moment, and obviously those uses have changed over time. When the bridge was originally designed, it conformed with current standards at the time. However, it no longer conforms to today's standards.
Hello, I'm Fiona. I'm a manual wheelchair user. The reason I'm a manual wheelchair user is because I have been offered an electric wheelchair, but I want to stay as active as possible and keep slim, so I prefer to use my manual wheelchair. With places like this, it is an obstacle though, and it isn't the easiest thing to do on a steep ramp behind me. It's a long, steep slope. You have to stop to rest because you just can't manage it in one go. It's quite scary and it's not the easiest thing to do. for a ramp that's not that steep, it would make it a lot easier, not just for me, but for other users as well. When you've got a double buggy, triple buggy, large suitcase, it would make it easier for all users, not just wheelchairs. And the train should be accessible for all.
Hi, I'm Lynn Cousins. I'm travelling to work. I live in Shipley, West Yorkshire. I come here probably twice a month at least. And as you can see, I always bring really heavy luggage because I don't travel lightly. The new bridge concept is going to be brilliant because it's going to make things so much easier. At the moment I find it really difficult dragging the bags up the ramp. When you get to the top, it's not too bad, you know, it's quite easy wheeling down the other side, but then the steps make it difficult as well. So it's just going to make such a big difference.
So the new bridge will act as an attractive gateway to the town centre. It will provide access for all, including new lift access, glass panel sides, which will make it feel sort of more spacious and more pleasant to use, but it also provides protection from the weather as well, connecting Telford town centre to Telford train station, and improved gradients on the bridge and the ramps itself.
So here we are in Prisley, and this is more or less the end of Dark Lane. So if we turn around and look up that way, now that is Prisley Estate there, and the old Prisley village, and this is where Dark Lane crossed the Wolverhampton Road, which vaguely runs in that direction, and this was also a main trunk road through Telford at some point. Now as we look down, you can see now that the original Dark Lane now is an existing, it's a cycle path now, footpath, cycle path. So it's amazing to think that this actual road started in Hinksey and followed all the way back and ended up here. So this is another example of one of Telford's roads, more of a village road I'd say, right the way through the middle.
This is the original Dawley to Wellington Road. It's the part that remains unchanged. It now leads down to a housing estate called Lawley Gate. As you can see how wide the actual road is. And as you can see, there's a couple of original old houses that would have originally lined the actual road. And if you would have originally lived in Dawley, this is the road that you would have either walked down to go to Wellington or came by car. And this road is an idyllic lost road.
So here's another example of one of those hidden roads and tracks in Telford. Now this is on Halesfield, this is just up from the floodplain. Now this is one of those old tracks that would have led from the mine, which was just behind me. Just take a look at the bridge, it's beautiful. The lovely red sandstone round it. I can see on that side there they've had to pin it to the bank there. So here's a little bit of road that's been forgotten about. Now it doesn't really look much like a road, but believe it or not, this is where the road from Nedge Hill came, and this connected Nedge Hill up with Sturchley Village. Now we know this is an original route because we've checked it and referenced it off a map, and if you can tell over here, if you have a look, you've got obviously trees like this. These are quite old trees. I mean, that's a beast, that is. But you can see this is where they've planted hedges on either side. They look like sort of relatively like sort of 70s, 80s hedges, but it shows the route of the road, and it's just wide enough for that road to come. So if I was walking forwards now, I'd be heading down towards Sturchley Grange, and it cuts straight through there. But it's a nice little bit of preserved roadway there, completely random piece of grass there, but actually it's showing where the original road went. So now we're on another lost road. Now this one it's quite wide, as you can see, but we're standing on a bridge. So let's get our bearings. Over that way we have Telford Central Station. Over that way we have Oakengate Central via the Oakengates Tunnel, which is just there. Now behind this way we have the Eastern Primary and the Eastern Primary footbridge. Now coming over that way we have Central Park. Now this road originally had got cut in half because of the building the Eastern Primary and Forge Interchange. So this road used to take you from Old Park, so it'll be sort of up near Forge Row, and it will take you up to Sneds Hill. Or if you wanted to get to the Lishall Company rolling mills, they were all over this area here. So what you're talking is a big industrial area behind me, but you can see how wide this bridge is. It is quite a substantial bridge, but it's another lost pathway, but it's now turned into a footpath of Telford. So this is the point where the Wolverhampton Road heads off to the right hand side and heads over the motorway and joins back in at Stafford Park. Obviously this is one of the main trunk roads in Telford originally. You can see the road's altered now, and that goes down towards Rico, but as you can see, as we turn back, excuse the wind, you can see straight up there, you can see the road going into Parsley Village there, and they've built houses on the left hand side, but roughly this is the old road that came down. Not every road in Telford, after it's been decommissioned, ends up just being a cycle path or some dirt track. This road here, I'm actually standing on the Iron Bridge to Wellington Road. Now it used to run along this route here, and many of you probably remember coming down this stretch of road in Lawley. Now obviously with the coming of Lawley Village, they integrated this road into a little informal street here. It's actually changed its name now, but it'll always be known to us as the Wellington Road. You know, this road followed all the way down through so if you went the other way, you'd be going towards Horsey, then down the Jiggers Bank into the bottom of Iron Bridge. Over this way, this will take you down through Arleston, and I think it sort of joined on to the other road from Dawley, the Dawley Road. It joined onto the Dawley Road. So, you know, another example of a missing road integrated into the new Telford grid system.